Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Speaking of Schmoedown, sports talk show devoted to the movie trivia Schmoedown. I'm Jay Wade, and once again, and as usual, we've got our numbers guy, Double D. How's it going, man?
Yo, it's been an interesting week, but I'm doing great. Happy to be here talking Schmoedown with everybody here, and glad to be here. I had a thought going on, but I forgot it immediately. So I'm happy to be here.
It happens. And I've been here for a while. Maple Dan from Schmoes of the North is back again. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks here, and it's good to see everybody still kicking and still getting through all of these matches.
Yeah,
we're in playoff territory now, and honestly, like, I was kind of complaining about the amount of matches, but come tournament season, I could watch 7 matches a week. I could watch 12 matches a week because the energy is so great.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of energy, you deflated some of my energy today, just to let you know, you son of a bitch. Maple Dan, I'm talking to you, yes. I was going to wear my corruption shirt, and then as I took it off the hanger, I was like, no, Maple Dan's a corruption shill. I'm sure he'll wear his corruption shirt. And here you are representing for the Smasher, which is even better than corruption. But here I am without my corruption shirt. So I think the only thing to be said to me is, so sorry, Lex. Damn it. I wonder whatever happened to Lex. That's a whole nother conversation within itself. Well, I would like to know whatever happened to Lex, and does he know what came about by his stupid comments in the live chat that one day on SEN Live? Dustin is back as well. How you doing, buddy?
Wonderful. I always wore my corruption shirt too, so I'm glad I wasn't the one that wanted to be the shill on the show, so I just held it back. Last time I was on, Double D wore his, so I'm like, well, maybe I should wear it next time, so I'm glad I didn't choose it today.
What I'm hearing here is everyone loves corruption, so I'm not mad at it.
Not everyone.
I am a fan of their manager. As far as a faction, I am a Den man through and through. But my alternate personality, Jay Massacre, is a huge fan of Shannon Barney. Okay, guys, let's just jump right in this. We are going to do hot matches, of course. Hot matches is our hot potato style game. Frenchie's going to eliminate us based on just us annoying him or a time limit, whatever it is. And when he does, he will remove one of us from the screen until there's one person left standing, and the winner and loser will reap and sow the benefits of that in the interview. We're not going to talk about Parker and Swift, because Parker will be joining us after hot matches. So we're going to get right into the singles tournament match with Bibiani versus Blunden. Bibiani took the win in this one. I'm a big fan of Bibiani. I really am, and I like it when he wins. You know, I don't root against him in any way. I just it would be cool to see somebody beat him for once, dude.
Well, people have beat him plenty of times. Roka's beat him. Dan, I think, beating him a couple of times.
He's only 13-10, which is the most shocking stat you see on screen next to his name. He was 12-10 in that match. It was shocking to read that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's lost 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never would have imagined either.
Yeah.
So never mind.
I remember we went on that streak a few years ago where he lost quite a few. He lost to JTE and Christian and all that stuff.
I think the issue with Bibbs is that, like, he is one of the most knowledgeable, if not the most knowledgeable player, and it's the people who understand the game and can just get that one up on him that they really get to make a name for themselves by beating such a legend that he is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And his hair looks great too. Now he's not doing a Chandru thing. The power in the hair, that is an exclusively Chandru thing. Let's make no mistakes about that. But I must say that I am loving the Bibbs hair. It's fucking looking good.
Yeah, to go back to what everyone else was saying, Bibbs was always, he has the knowledge. He just didn't know how to play the game. And even when I was working on Trivia SD, saying that I kind of said to him, like, yeah, I think Chance is going to beat you when I was pitching one of my articles. And I said, like, hey, this is Chance's strategy, and your strategy is like you have the knowledge, but you just can't play the game right. We see that even with Saul with his season, he didn't check the multiple choice at collision, and we saw Bibbs do that same mistake over and over again. And had he checked the multiple choice, he probably would have gotten it. And I think having a manager now, especially last season, his gameplay has improved immensely, and I think that's because he's had a manager to kind of coax him in and coach him to say, hey, if you know it, but it's on the tip of your tongue, go to multiple choice, because if he has a chance to steal it.
Back off of his managers, I do want to say that I want there to be some sort of a but I don't know, like somehow we need to be able to wedge Adam Witt in for candidate for manager of the year. Dude, for real, like I'm down for it. I'll give him manager of the year. But
I saw a stat today that he was like 0-4 in managing, and I cannot believe Adam Witt's horrible luck in just all aspects, and yet everybody loves him. He's one of my favorites.
Wait, no, wait a minute. Wait, no. Dude, Adam Witt, dude, he's a solid manager, dude. He's done a good job with his managing. He really has, especially in the Bateman match. Holy fucking shit, dude.
He's done a good job with his playing, too. He just gets luck.
Dude, no, you cannot blame those losses.
Oh, it's so much more quieter now.
Right? Yeah, and if we're going to talk about Blunden for a second in that first match, he played like phenomenally. I think some of that second round was really tough on him, but he pushed it out and...
Oh, thank you. Yes. I don't think anybody else expected Bibbs, I don't know, like me, to lose that match anyway, right? But like you, Jay, were you sitting there kind of hoping for it?
Yeah,
you want to see it?
Him, it just is one of those where, like, maybe not overall once finding out his overall career record, but this season he just seems to be in team singles like he's hard to beat, dude. And it's just one of those where it's like, I want to see the guy that you don't expect to win. That would be cool.
Well, I think part of the problem is London's performance in round 2, and I actually kind of did the statistics with the hockey statistics, the first goal win. It seems that at least in singles, if you get the lead in round 1, you have to keep that lead in round 2, because then you ultimately win the match. If your opponent gains the lead or ties you, it becomes even harder to win. So and I think that's part of the problem, is that because Jacob London only scored 4 points in round 2, and Bibbs scored 6 points and got 2 points stolen from London. So it really goes to show that you need to carry that lead through round 2 in order to the final round.
It feels like Bibbs has gotten better at that too. I think that's why Jay. We give Coy all the credit too, but between Coy and the kid now, I think Bibb feels like he's almost playing for them more than himself at times, and that's why I think Bibbs is now harder to beat, which is why the record speaks for just how long he's been playing. But right now, I kind of agree with you, Jay. I don't know if I had to put money out. Again, we don't know everybody in the singles tournament. I mean, obviously we know Dan's in now, but I would almost. How do you put money not on Bibbs to win the whole thing? Especially if he's...
I don't know. I think Jeff Snyder could do some real damage. I mean, there's going to be... I got to say that Roxy's got to put Jeff Snyder in the singles tournament. That's got to be one of the star players. No pun intended.
Right.
I don't know, but we're gonna move on to the Paramo and Fabretti match. I don't know. I can't get into what you guys are talking about there. I just know that I was kind of wanting the guy that I didn't expect to win in the Bibbs match. No offense to you, Bibbs. Congratulations. It was a good match. But I've got to say, dude, the challenge the challenge, dude. Okay, the question. Okay, the answer. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not really that worked up about it, but there was a challenge, and the thing I want to bring up about this challenge, though, is the post match interview when both Paige and Sam were like, dude, if I was Kate, I would have challenged this against me too. Like he admitted it was an absurd, but it is within his right to challenge. And he did so. And that's what I love about the challenges. And he's very creative. But I just love how, there was none of that, that's because he knew it was a BS challenge. But because there have been challenges that were legit challenges that were, the call was messed up. And he or any other manager would have the right to be mad. But it was just kind of cool, I thought. That it wasn't a situation where it was like a huge issue. It was like, hey, man, I knew it was a bullshit challenge, but we're going to try.
Or a counter argument. I think that's what you're trying to say. But yeah, I do kind of see both sides. Because on one hand, I know you hate the benefit of the doubt rule, Jay, but it's clear. I understand. And honestly, I think that the ruling was fair. I think that the title is the title. This is one aspect that you can't say give it a benefit of the doubt. But we both can agree she clearly knew what she was talking about. But that being said, she should not have been awarded the points. I think it was a fair challenge. And I'm actually happy that she ended up winning the match regardless of the challenge.
I think this same movie has lost a person a challenge on the exact same thing. I can't remember who it was, but I think don't mess with the Zohan and you don't mess with the Zohan has been a challenge before.
Yeah, that does sound familiar, but I just don't remember what challenge. I think maybe Andraco was part of that. That's who would come to mind.
I'm not going to be nitpicky over the word "the," unless it's Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad. In that instance, of course.
Yeah.
If it's like the Long Road Home, and someone says Long Road Home, I'm not gonna fucking get my panties up my ass crack about that, right? But yes, to answer Dagan's question that was just put up here a second ago, yes, I think the benefit of doubt rule should be completely gotten rid of. I just think it's bullshit, man. The answer is either right or it's wrong. It's really that simple.
I think you have to make certain exceptions. I don't think the benefit of the doubt rule should be applied to everything, like the title of the movie. Because if you say, because if it's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that's a difference, and that's obviously a difference, and you can't give benefit of the doubt for that. But if you said like maybe Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry Potter Chambers of Secrets, it's like. Yeah, technically it's wrong, but there's no other film.
It's wrong. It doesn't matter, dude. It does. Yeah. It is either chamber or chambers. Chamber is singular. Chambers is plural. There's
but I'm using that as an example, and I know I just kind of hypocritical.
But I'm being that technical. But my final word on this is I do want to say, going to your point, there was one time where a benefit of doubt rule came into play. And I agreed with it. Was in the Star Wars match with Thomas Harper and what Akbar had said. As far as in New Hope and the shields being down and that whole thing. Now that the way it turned out and the way the question was worded that was asked and the way that it all went down, the arguments, everything, that I agree with the benefit of doubt rule in that instance.
I have a question. Do you think Sam Levine saying to the people, hey, if you do this, it will be unfair? You think that went against him, kind of like not bullying, but kind of putting it as his argument? Do you think that kind of went against? And if he would have done that, Paige would have got the point?
I think that everyone involved is far too professional to have let that influence their decision. I don't think Christian or anyone would have an issue looking at Sam in the eyes and saying, I don't care that you feel that way. This is our decision. No, I don't. But I do think that was out of line.
What do I mean is not necessarily it didn't influence, but then could have he done another argument that would have maybe brought a point? Did he waste his argument on that?
I was about to say that because like we can talk about like the Drew McWeeny incident when he said the sequel name it. If Ty would have said a different argument, could that have swayed the argument to Ty's favor where Drew didn't get the points?
Right.
So I mean, I think that there's something there, and if we have someone from there, maybe Paige or Ty, we're having Ty come in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can ask that kind of question where does the counter argument make a sway in the deciding factor in the decision?
I think one of the bigger faults, more so than like, I think that's more of a shtick that he's putting on to kind of play up his challenge, because, well, you got the time on screen, make it count, right? And Sam Levine does a very good job of that at like most times. But I think his issue was picking the free-for-all challenge instead of, if he had grabbed one of the examples from the season, I think they would have had a lot of a stronger argument. But that's just not the one that popped into his head at the time.
Right. But how awesome was it to see that little Sam Kate interaction, though?
Yeah.
That is something, you know, there's to split up the monotony of the managers this year. That was spectacular that they put that 20 seconds on screen. Like that really helped like show the emotion and the care that the managers have against each other, because who knows what happens on that camera and they're in the waiting room and stuff, right? Isn't that what we've always wondered, like how it is when they're in each other like that, and you almost get to see just a tiny bit of it. Like that was almost worth the whole challenge in itself, is just to see that.
Yep. I agree. And guys, we're running short on time here. I forgot to say off the top of the show for our listeners and viewers, this is a short show today. We're only doing an hour. But we've got Robert Parker coming up next. So real quick around the horn, one go from each of us. Merle versus Irwin, the pay-per-view event last night for the singles title. Irwin ended up taking the title. So real quick, Dan, what do you think about that? I think
I'm going to be in first place in the fantasy league. That's what I think.
Yeah. I got to do something to kick your ass out of my way, man.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll talk about exchanging some stuff, okay?
Who, me and you?
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Yeah.
I want him out too.
All right, cool. Dustin, what did you? I love how literally Dan's only thoughts on the title match was, boom, I brought in points in the fantasy league.
And a title and a belt.
Okay, but my only point is we got points in the actual league, and corruption, like gaining points, hinged on the usual suspects taking this championship and not the dungeon getting 8 more points.
Yeah, and my thing is I'm so glad the buzzers are back, because I love them. The buzzers are one of my favorite things, and I love how much fun they make live matches. So good on Ethan.
Dan, you do know that our guest today is in the dungeon, and you're just knocking on him saying, okay, I'm just making sure.
Dan, I thought I remembered us at the beginning. We were all talking about wearing our dungeon shirts because we're all huge dungeon fans, right? Isn't that what you said earlier?
That's exactly what I said.
I thought so.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. But now, actually, yeah, we do have Robert Parker here, everybody. And like I said, our hot matches, how it works here is the winner starts the interview one-on-one with our guest. Second place joins a little bit later. Third place, then the loser comes in last. That's how it works. And Dustin is our winner today. So take it away, buddy.
How's it going, Robert? How's it going?
It's good, man. How about you?
Not bad. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Of
so
course.
what's it like tournament season? How's this does it, like, we were just talking about how the middle of the season, even though there's a lot of matches, you know, the exhaustion factor almost hits for even viewers, you know, like there's just a bunch of matches just to get records and pad some points, which is good. But now that tournament season's just randomly getting intermixed, how does it feel on the player side?
It's similar, you know, like we haven't gotten a lot of heads up or, like, you know, scheduling. Like we don't know when we're playing, you know, 2 months ahead of time. It's the the lead time for that has gotten a little bit shorter as of late, just because there have been so many matches, and there's some live, some in person, all that, or some virtual still. So it's not like it used to be where you can sort of like plan, okay, I have a match in 6 weeks, I know the exact date I'm playing, I can sort of build up to that. You just always kind of have to be ready, always have to stay warm, always have to stay hot, and that is challenging and does provide for some burnout sometimes. But I think the tournament season really I think that it reinvigorates us, and I think that it sort of, the end is in sight of the season. We know where the standings are, because at the start of the season, in the first half, it's in the first half of the season. It's anybody's game still. Things are starting to sort of shake out a little bit more now. So we know who the biggest competitors are. We know who pretty much the rest of the title paths for every championship for the rest of the season. We
Right.
basically know who's at least involved in them, so we know who you might have to play. We have brackets, all that good stuff. So it definitely is sort of a reset button, I think, the start of tournament season.
Yeah, how is it the start of tournament season this year? Well, even last year, I suppose. But I'm assuming with the tournaments moving forward, probably as they get farther down, you can probably assume in person's coming.
Right.
So how does it feel knowing that if, as long, not only winning more means you get more points and you possibly get a title shot, but winning more most likely probably means you're in person.
Hopefully, yeah. I am loving the few in-person matches we've seen so far, the taping days and the collision and all that good stuff. I know it's on the horizon. I know they're doing their best to make it as safe as possible for everybody, and I think everybody who has competed live, I've only done it once, but I've been to live events. I've hung out with the people, fans and competitors and all that good stuff, and I think everybody knows that that's where the show operates at its best, is in live, is in some kind of studio. I think with a crowd there, that's just where the show and where the game is at its best. So I think that's just an extra little bit of motivation to know that, hey, if you win two more, for tournaments at least, if you keep winning, the interview tournament's pretty small. If you win it, Spectacular's right there, and you get to play at that event, and that is such a massive motivation for me personally, at least, and I think for anybody else who's in tournaments is. Right. Everybody wants to play in person. That's the goal.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then I guess the other thing I want to ask too is just because I'm sure it's Inner Geekdom all the time.
Yeah.
What do you I'm assuming you must have watched the match. Was it last night already?
The Dan Ethan match?
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to check it because I am out of town right now. I'm from the comfort of a random hotel room. So I did not get the chance to watch it, but I do know what happened. So okay. I heard about it after it had taped.
Sure. So what do you think about the outcome, just because you know it?
Yeah, I mean, Dan is clearly still the GOAT in my mind. He's still the best player who's ever done it. And he's not. I'm not just saying that as a teammate of his and as a friend of his. Like he's an incredible player, and I think the prospect of him being in the singles tournament should scare some people.
Yeah, we were talking about Bibbs earlier and how Bibbs and Dan are scary. I think it's scare everyone in the tournament.
Yeah, and Ethan's a great player. He deserved it. He played well. There's very few people that I'm happy to see take belts away from the dungeon, and Ethan's one of them. I'm okay with that.
And speaking on that a little bit, with Dan going into a tournament, honestly, there's not a lot. It will reflect on your entrance in your own tournament. There's not a lot of game tape on Dan Merle in the tournament, or honestly in 3-round matches at this point.
Sure, not in a while.
True.
Yeah.
And you face multiple people in the IG tournament who have played 2 or up to 0 matches in this tournament or in this division. So how do you like take a challenge like that other than just making sure you know everything?
Right. It's tough because the margin for error is so small, especially in 3-round matches and especially in specialized divisions like Star Wars and Inner Geekdom. You miss one question, you check down once, and that could be the game. So it's really tough to prep for an opponent. You really just have to try to prep the best you can against the questions that you're going to get. But there is a little bit of strategy that comes into it. Like I know, Ethan and Paul Oyama are playing, and I have to play the winner of that match. And obviously, Paul's only played one Inner Geekdom match. Ethan's never played one, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see that match necessarily before I play the winner, or because I have no idea when that's taping. I have no idea when I would have to tape. So I may not have any game tape on who I play next. But I do know them. I have lots of game tape on them in singles and in teams. So I know the types of questions that they might miss, the genres of movies that might be sort of blind spots, that might be strengths for me. I know Paul's a good friend of mine. I've known him for years now since we played in other divisions before the Schmoedown. So I think it's just trying to do your best to glean what you can from as many different matches as you can. But that's easier said than done. Ethan Irwin, not a guy with a lot of weaknesses.
Oh, Robert Parker, man, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going, Jay? Good, man. How about you?
Pretty good, man. Before we begin our hot potato or hot matches, rather, it's hot potato, it's hot matches. Right?
Same thing.
Our loser on here. I got two things, real quick. I premiered a new show from Birth to Schmoedown last Monday. Kate Mulligan was our first guest, and this Monday, Robert Parker's episode drops. It was a lot of fun. It was a very good time. And yeah, I cannot. I was thinking about it. Okay, peek behind the curtain. I was sitting on the toilet this morning for my morning ritual, and it popped into my head, your mascot for your high school. Very odd time for that to come into my but it popped into my head, and it's a very interesting mascot that you'll all find out about on that show.
It's a good show.
Monday, but thanks for your time on that.
Yeah, of course.
But real quick, before Dan gets out here, I do really fast want to run through this and just get your quick picks if you don't mind.
Sure.
You just put away Swift. So now you're going to be either facing Oyama or Irwin. Off the top of your head, who do you have taking that match?
I think probably Oyama. Has experience. He's at least studied IG before. I'm not sure how much Ethan is really diving into some of the new and old categories. I know Paul just has some experience in that realm, so I'd got to go with him.
Okay, and jumping over to the other side, we got Chance Ellison will be taking Moose Hoss. Who do you think may be victorious in that one?
I'm going to take Ellison, but I think it's going to be close. I think Haas had not a great last match against Amaru, but he has a lot of potential. So I think that's going to be a really close match, but I have Ellison winning by a hair.
And finally, on the other side of that, we got Saul versus Hannah. That's a match I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Too. Yep.
What do you think the outcome of that one's going to be? Saul had a match last week.
He did. I think part of it depends, if it'll be virtual or live. I think Hannah has an advantage live. I think Saul has an advantage virtual. But even then, I think I'm going to take Hannah. I think he's a little bit hungrier. I think Saul, coming off that collision match, is going to be a little bit down on himself, and he shouldn't be. I mean, he played well. He had a great lead up to that collision match. He's a great player. But I think Hannah might be in his head a little bit too, and Saul might be in his own head as well.
Never know. Double D.
Hey, thanks for calling me a loser, even though I'm winning in the fantasy league. But hey, take your wins where you can. But Parker, speaking of wins and losses, this week the Quirky Mercs dethroned the Dungeon, finally taking the first place. But you got a little bit of a revenge tour because you took a point away from them. So how does that feel, knowing that you kind of stiffed them a little bit?
Right, it was good. It's right. It's definitely like, yeah, you have it for now, but don't celebrate too soon. We're still here. We're still just as capable of winning. We're still just as capable of getting points and taking points away from you. The Dungeon and the Mercs haven't played a lot this season. The Mercs have played a lot of other factions, but that might have been the first time that we played them, me versus Swift. I'm trying to think back to some of our other players. No, that was Suspect. Yeah, we've played them very, very little this year. So at least, recently we have a good leg up on them. So if we have to keep playing them, I think that'll be a good reminder for them, just that, we still have the capability to beat them.
Bonjour, Mr. Parker. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. It's something that we talked about before, but I want to have your point of view on it. Adam Witt, okay?
Yeah.
He got witness a match when he manages right now, if I'm not mistaken, like they said before, 0-4, but yet he does so good. He's such a good manager, such a good presence, and a fan favorite. Could you explain a bit of the dynamics of what's happening with Witt in the dungeon right now?
Yeah, I mean, so Kaiser is a little bit MIA just because of like some personal work stuff with him. He's not, in LA. He's working, and he's doing good stuff, and he still works with us as often as he can. I just had a phone call with him the other week. Like, we're still in communication with him. It's not like Kaiser is just missing completely, but he's not able to make all of the tapings, make all of the matches. So we have, our designated second manager is Adam Witt, who has the same energy as Kaiser, the same passion, the same comedy, the same enthusiasm, and that's really what you want out of a manager. You want somebody who's going to be able to keep you loose, and he has a strategic mind too. I mean, he knows movies super well. Look at the challenge he made with Bateman. That 5-pointer down, that's an incredible challenge, and that was all him. That was just his knowledge. So, yeah, Witt is definitely like the stepfather of the dungeon while Kaiser is away, and he's taking care of business. And yeah, his record may not reflect it, but I honestly do think he's a very, very good manager.
And is it just bad luck, or there's still some fine tuning?
I think it's just the questions. I don't think any of those losses that he managed can really be attributed to, gameplay mistakes or a bad challenge or maybe the lightning time that could have been a different on opponent's choice maybe. But in general, I don't think a lot of those have to come down to strategic decisions that Witt messed up on or anything like that. I think strategically actually he's played really really well. I think it's just been bad luck of questions. Dan didn't have a great speed round. I think it's factors out of Witt's control, I would say.
So you're saying it's PJ Campbell's fault?
Yeah. And also the players who miss those questions. You can't blame for missing a question. For that specific thing, you can't blame anybody except the person who missed it, right? Like, yes, there's sometimes in difficulty imbalances or stuff like that. There's other people that can be brought up, and I think PJ does a wonderful, wonderful job.
Yeah, that was just a joke.
No, you're good. But like, at the end of the day, if you get asked a question and you don't know it, that's on you. You can't really throw that on someone else.
All right, so I'm not even supposed to be here, so I'll go back. But nice seeing you again, Parker.
You too, man.
Till next time.
And Frenchie, here in a second, pull up Dagan's question, but if you don't mind, question from Dagan here for you, Parker. Who do you see as your biggest threat in the IG tournament?
I think just historically, probably have to go Chance. He's one of one of two people who've beaten me, and he won the tournament last year. I have the win up on him this year, which is why I think I was, we didn't have official seedings, but I think that's why I was seeded higher than him, is because I'm coming off of a win against him 1-on-1. And, if the finals of the tournament are a rubber match between him and I just don't know how that would go. I think he's a great player. I definitely think I can beat him again. I already did it once this year, comfortably-ish. At least I didn't have to hit a 5, but yeah, I think when Chance is on his game and solely focused on one thing, he's really hard to stop.
Anybody else?
According to Reddit and Facebook and everything, it's going to be you and Chance in the finals because not a single bracket I haven't seen opposite that. So I think it's pretty much set.
Yeah, we'll see.
At least in the fans' minds.
Yeah, that's fair. Moose is a dark horse, and Saul and Hannah are both very hungry. So whoever comes out of that, I think, is going to be at the top of their game.
And I do have one thing to speak on that. If you are facing Chance Ellison in the finals, and this will be a few weeks from now at the very least, so possibly live, what do you do against Chance Ellison in the speed round? What do you do in the speed round?
You have to know it faster than he does. Yeah, I mean, I've never played a 5-round match. I've never played with physical buzzers. I mean, I've played 5-round matches, just not in the Schmoedown, and not with a physical buzzer or anything like that. So it's practice with the buzzer as much as you can, and just know it quick. Have good recall. Chance is probably the best speed round player that there is right now. If collision, is anything to go off of, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would love to play live, but I don't know that you can really have a strategy in the speed round besides just know it quicker.
Yeah, practice that speed round because we've seen like Rachel Cushing, Clark Wolf, when they first battled for their belts for the first time, they did not practice those buzzers and they just flopped. But once they kind of worked with them with those buzzers, whoa, that was a big quick. So really practice those buzzers if you can. Honestly, just practice with everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And like my recall is pretty good. Both Chance and I have a pretty quick recall, and it also just depends on the questions. You know, we haven't seen a buzzer IG speed round in a year and a half, 2 years.
No.
So who knows what the modern questions are going to be for that kind of a speed round?
We got another in the chat here. Ryan Christensen wants to know if you had a different color suit.
He's right in its color.
Yeah, I know how to pronunciate, dude.
I think I love the blue suit. I think it works really, really well. It's the exact sort of like shark blue vibe that we were looking for when me and Kaiser were initially like sort of working out the costume and the character. I think that, oh man, if I had to change it, I think going like with a lighter color, like not like a lime green, but like sort of like mid tier like green or like a little bit of a lighter blue even would be cool. Or, you know, just go balls to the wall and get like a bright red. That'd be crazy. It'd look weird.
I didn't know
but
it
I
was
think it'd be
blue.
cool.
For some reason, I see purple when I see it on screen.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's tough like with the lighting in
Lights.
my apartment too. Like, yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, I love that suit.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hot though. It is hot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I bet. Maple Dan or Dustin Double D got
Well,
it.
I mean, I suppose we might as well ask the obvious other question is the Chandru Mike match, right?
Mhm.
I mean, what's the opinion on that and the thought process of that, and the fact that it's live is going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
But,
I wish I could be there for that one. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fireworks. You know, they're both playing close to the top of their game right now. Mike played super, super impressively against Mara, and Chandru played lights out against me. It's tough. I would like to see. I think I would like to see Chandru win because then I can beat him at Spectacular, and then Swag gets the points and Corruption doesn't. For those two reasons, but also I would like Mike to win so that he gets his defense, is like touted as, you know, officially the IG GOAT, if you want to call him that, and then I beat him at Spectacular and I dethrone the guy who's been doing it for years. I think both situations would be great for me. I would love to get revenge against Chandru for myself. I would love to get revenge against Mike for Mara, but also who knows if Amaru can beat either of them. That's very possible too. So, yeah, I think if I had to go purely based off of how they're playing right now, I would have to pick Chandru. But Mike's one of those guys that you never really think has the upper hand, and then he wins anyways. He just does that all the time. So, yeah, both of them are great players. I have a lot of respect for both their games.
Oh yeah. And as you guys saw, we're about to play a game. Robert, you're going to stick around for about 10 minutes and play with us for a little. All right, great.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for the interview portion of the show. Good luck in the tournament. That's going to be kick-ass. Frenchie, why don't you get out here and tell us about this game of ours, or, well, yours. I don't know if anyone.
At this point, it's a game of ours.
You
All
right.
right. Basically, it's like Guess Who, right? I have a player in mind. You guys have to ask questions. It could be from, you know, like Jay Wade says, is there an animal in their faction's logo, right? How many times have they won the championship? And the first person who gets it wins. If you guess and miss, you're out of the game for that round and back after. Now, I have 3 players in mind. If people do like an errand and guess it after 3 questions, I'm going to have to research more. But so far, I have 3 players. So to start off, we're going to go Dustin, and then Parker, Daniel, and so on. And so, Dustin, what is your first question?
Ooh. Has this person been a champion before?
Nope.
Is this person male or female?
Male.
Do they play in the Inner Geekdom?
Nope.
Are they currently still playing in the Schmoedown?
Yes.
Is their manager a male?
Yes.
Oof. Oof. Have they played more than once this year?
Let me check.
That's a tough question, but
Yes.
Were they signed in free agency or were they drafted?
Drafted. That's a good question. No one has asked that question yet.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like
What was their
roster.
What was their first season?
This year.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a good question.
I'm gonna go to the one I like. Does their logo have an animal on it?
Yes.
Is it Thomas Harper?
You're out, bro.
Okay.
Good guess, though. That is a good guess, but you're out.
I'm just gonna go with a guess to make it fun. Is it Brother Lomas?
Nope. Hey, another good guess, though.
Have they played in multiple divisions?
Nope.
Okay. I guess.
Ooh. I want to guess, but I also don't want to guess. Do they have multiple wins?
Yes.
Okay.
Griffin Newman.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. All
was
right.
him and
We had
Ty,
to do
and I
an exchange
couldn't.
rookie. Yeah.
I was literally on their roster. I knew it was somebody from their roster.
Yeah.
Dang it.
All right. So let's go on to the next player. Parker, you're up first.
Okay. Are they an active player?
Yes.
Start with the basics.
Is this competitor a male?
Yes.
I really like Parker's question. Were they drafted or kept?
Yes. It was signed in this
Signed.
year,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that knocks a lot of people out. So that's a good question.
Is their manager male or female?
Female.
Okay.
Do they play in multiple divisions?
Let me just check. No.
Go
When
to
was
you,
their
Harper.
Oh, wait, I guess if they were signed, it wouldn't have been that. Give me a second. So, have they won a championship?
Nope.
Thanks for that question, Parker. That helped me.
Yeah.
Okay, I had one, but I'm like, no, that's not it.
Oh, wait. Let me
I
check
think I have it.
Okay, yeah, no. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, have they won more than 2 matches?
Yes. More than 2 matches?
2 matches
That
or
was the
plus.
question.
Okay, well, I'll give it straight since I wasn't sure. They have a 2-2 record,
Oh.
Whew.
if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man. Is that 2-2 overall? Sorry, that's my question. But
I believe so. Wikipedia for Schmoedown is not the best place to sometimes check, but yes, as I can see, yes.
you can go, Jay.
Claudia Dolph.
No. Bye-bye.
Claudia Dolph's not a male.
Wasn't signed either.
The
Oh,
I think it's Nadine.
I'm so confused, honestly. One of those clues is throwing me off in every direction.
Yeah, it's so simple.
The record
Is
really
it-
helps.
can I guess? Because I think I'm wrong because I'm pretty sure this person plays more than one. Can I guess?
I mean,
Yeah.
Robert would be
am I up?
next, and
Oh, you're up.
I will
I'm sorry,
just
I didn't realize I was up.
guess. Yeah, I will just guess a player because I know I need to. Is it? Oh man, is it Paul Preston?
Is
Not
it
Paul
Saul?
Preston.
Almost my guess. But
Is
I
it
think
Saul?
Huh?
Saul?
Yes.
Damn it! I was
Damn
gonna
it, that's what I
say
had.
that's what,
Oh,
The 2-2 record really helped.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm thinking it's gotta be Saul. That's the only
Yeah.
thing.
I was there
But
too. It was just
my issue was Saul was drafted, not picked up.
But
Then
no,
signed.
No, he
Then
was signed.
signed Goddard, Preston, and
Yeah,
Marisol.
but
no?
he was signed of this season. He was signed this season.
yeah,
For this season, I should say.
and I specified this season.
Mm.
All right, so Jay Wayne,
Oh,
up to you for the first question.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get one more in here. Let's see. I am going to ask a question that will not matter at all and will not help anyone. Do they wear glasses?
Yes.
You know, we should just real quick. We should actually try play this sometime where it's real guess who rules. Like, do they have glasses? Do they have red hair? Do they have face?
Okay, well,
I play Guess Who Give differently. I always say, do they look like they could rob a bank or like stuff like that? I ask weird, like subjective questions.
has this player played in multiple divisions?
Yes.
Are they a current player?
Yes.
Have they won a championship?
Yes.
Champ.
is this person currently in a team?
Yes.
I think you're up, Jay.
Oh, Di Milanta, Andrew.
Doesn't wear glasses.
No.
He's wearing glasses.
Oh, I thought the answer was no. Oh shit.
A champion that's current that wears glasses. Now, if I ask a question that clarifies a previous question, does that count? Or I might clarify.
I said, have they won a championship? That was my question.
Yeah, but that's how I equate it. I'm gonna go for a guess. Chance Ellison.
Say what?
Chance Ellison.
Wears sunglasses.
Yeah.
I said glasses. It could be sunglasses or normal glasses.
Okay.
Who hasn't worn sunglasses?
Yeah, right.
Or
Okay.
just forgot if it was a male or female. Don't shake your head.
Have they won championships in multiple divisions?
Oh, that's a good question. Give me a second. I don't have the best memory, but I believe not.
Ethan Irwin.
Yes.
Damn it, that's what I had.
Hey, Parker, you're the winner of today's game, bro.
Parker snagged that twice.
All right.
That's what I had too. Good job, Parker.
That's a great game. I love that.
What
game.
was it? I didn't hear it. What was the
It was
answer?
Irwin. It was Irwin.
Irwin? Okay, I was either saying it's either Bibbs or Irwin because that's the only thing I could come up with. I wasn't
All right,
thinking
man.
a little bit.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for playing the game, and again,
that's
thank you, Parker, for being the winner this today.
Of course. I'll have to come on again. I like that game a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, good time. Paige likes it too, man. We'll see if maybe we can get you both on here to play that
Yeah,
together.
that'd be a great time. For sure.
Aaron versus Parker might be interesting.
Yeah, true.
Sure. You gotta go into like the backlog. You gotta go like season 3, people who played in one team's match and never showed up again. Like
Yeah, well, we do that sometimes for the question of just timing. I want
right, no, that's fair. I was just like throwing like Rosie Knight out of nowhere. Like I don't know, somebody like
Yeah, try and guess
back to, like, season
Ashley
3 or 4.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I remember I got Scott Mance on a total guess last time we played it, and of course it's like you gotta take a guess. Rob.
Yeah.
Speaking of wild guesses, though, I do want to mention that one of those questions you got in your match, that Gregory Goyle question,
Oh, yeah.
I was flabbergasted. I was like, I'm not even sure his first name's in the movies, guys.
I'm not
That
sure
was
it is
so
either.
difficult. It's like once or twice, maybe.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
I was just like, I know he knows it, but that
I
was
had to use
tough.
the repeat to figure out if it was. Well, yeah, I knew it was either Crab or Goyle. I needed the repeat to figure out which one it was, because like I knew their first names just having been a book reader. But yeah, I had to parse, and then I was like, no, because what's I go off on tangents sometimes, and I'm like, no, because I know. And then I spent like 15 seconds thinking of what Crab's actor's name was, and I'm like, no, that's Jamie something. No, it's not that. Okay, so it's like I just wasted a repeat for like doing that.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Robert,
Yeah.
thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks for your
For
time.
sure. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks so much for having me.
And again,
Have a good one, guys.
before we drop you off screen, everybody, Robert Parker's episode of From Birth to Schmoedown premieres this Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure and check that out. I will tweet it out all over the place. So
Sounds
thank
good.
you
Have a good
again,
one, guys.
Thanks, Robert.
Yep.
Okay, guys, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. But now, everybody, it is time for
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Double D's sexy numbers. What do you got for us this week, Dan?
All right, so because Collision was happening last week, we decided to push off my review and forecast to this week. So now, of course, with July's review, I meant to put forecast in it, but I didn't have enough time. For this July forecast review, we're going to use the old schedule that was no longer accurate. But because we're only missing like 2 or 3 matches that didn't get played, we're just going to keep using those numbers because they're still pretty accurate. So for the Quirky Mercs, for July they could end somewhere between 31 and 60 points. And they ended the year at the end of the month of July with 54 points. That was massive, and they took a first place, replacing the dungeon. And for
That's high PPE.
yeah, so for August they only have 7 points that they could possibly gain. That anywhere between 63 points and 56 points. The dungeon, I said that in July they can be somewhere between 47 and 60 points. They ended the month with 47 points. And this doesn't count when Parker took that 1 point from him, because that was for August. So for August, for the remaining of August, for what we know so far, because there is a week that we don't know what matches they'll be playing. For August, they could be somewhere between 50 points and 59 points. So not a lot of growth there, even though I think that they could win some matches and get some points. For the usual suspects, I said that they would be somewhere between 22 points and 48 points, and they end the month with 35 points. So there's definitely a middle road, but they're getting some momentum. And for August, they could be somewhere between 51 and 45 points. For the Exchange, I said that they would be somewhere between 47 and 58 points. They end the month of July with 40 points. And for August, they could be somewhere between 40 and 55 points, pending the updated schedule. So, Dan, for this schedule, with the momentum that the usual suspects and the Quirky Mercs are having, do you think that they're going to do you think the Quirky Mercs can maintain this lead, or do you think the dungeon can actually, like what Robert says, can they actually overtake first place again?
I mean, looking at it, they don't have a lot of margin to do it in, but also the Mercs don't have a lot of margin to build that lead either, because in the next month we have a 7 and a 9 point spread. If the Mercs pick up 4 points, the dungeon isn't taking first. Yeah. So we do look at it from the like possible projection of the Mercs first, because they are in first place. And I could see it happening because of the specific tournaments that we're watching now. We don't know when the second round of the singles tournament starts or when Brendan Meyer's first match is. So
we do have to keep moving, Dan.
Yeah.
So I apologize, we have to move on. But there is a good 9 points for everyone to actually gain because there is a week that we don't know what the schedule is. So for corruption, I said in July that they could be somewhere between 51 points and 31 points. And the end of July, they end the month with 36 points. And for August, they could get somewhere between 48 and 36 points. So not a lot of growth there. But then, this is going to be heartbreaking for Jay. 42. I said that they could end the month with between 42 and 27 points. They end the month with 30 points. And for this month so far, they only can be somewhere between 30 and 33 points. So that's definitely the lowest margin for this month.
If I can, before we go in, it's going to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
Harper is carrying the team. That's what it is. Harper is carrying the team. If Harper loses, they're done. That's it.
Fair enough. So Swag, they could end. I said in July that they could end for Swag. They could end somewhere between 11 and 27 points. They end the month with 16 points. And for August, they again not a lot of margin. 16 to 22 points for forecasting for August. And the Stars, they could. I said that for the end of July, they could end somewhere between 11 and 26 points. They end the month with 14 points. And for August, again, 23 and 14 points. So again, the Stars, I'm going to say this real quick. The Stars and the Swag are not going to be out of that hole they're in for the month. So far, for what we know. The Den, so far what we know, they're going to probably stay in 6th place. So really only corruption has the chance to advance even further. Do you think that they could do it, Dan? That the corruption could actually get to 3 or 2nd place?
I think so. You got Mike defending his belt. I think that's your strongest opportunity. It's the reason Swag and the Stars are out of it was because they had those high contenders who didn't win championship matches. And this year is all about the belts, as the Mercs have demonstrated.
Yeah. And I know that this is heartbreaking news for Roxy Strider, but we do have her on the phone. Roxy, what do you think about my numbers?
You had the sexiest numbers by far.
Okay, thank you. You don't seem too disappointed, but thank you, Roxy.
Yeah, I agree with her 100%. Sexy numbers, dude. I'm not going to get into the details of what those numbers do to me at night when I'm in bed.
Too much for me. Too much for me.
Hold on, I got it. Yeah, give me my spot back. That's my spot. Damn it.
Okay, Sheldon.
Dude, this is the Iron Throne, and this is my seat, dude. I rule Westeros and all that, dude. So I'm just saying.
Let me put some here. Here, let me offer you a drink, Jay. Here you go.
I don't trust anyone. I ain't going out like Joffrey, that little dick. But that is this week's episode. Like I said, we do a little shorter episode. I got some things I have to take care of. But next week, guys, we've got Kate Mulligan coming on the show, so that'll be a lot of fun. Definitely going to talk to her about last week's match with Saul rather. It was Saul's first studio match, and it looked really interesting. Some of the behind the scenes stuff of the production of everything looked cool. So it'll be fun to talk to her about that. And of course, we'll talk about Schmoedown. So thanks everybody for joining us. Be sure and subscribe and like, share, all that good stuff. And until next week, everyone, have a great and safe week. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.